actually being here today. You've taken a huge step. You've decided, listen, I'm going to take action. I'm going to start making things happen. And then I'm going to start building the success that I want for myself, because no one's going to give it to me. I'm going to make it happen for myself. So first things first, a huge congratulations to you guys, just to say, you know what, you've taken the first big step, and that is to actually be here today and to make things happen for yourselves. The next thing that I want you guys to know is that feel free to take pictures of this presentation, of this session, and to post them on social media. I do not mind at all. I love it when people share what we have. So feel free to take screenshots. Feel free to take a snap, a picture of what's happening, a little 15-second Insta story, whatever it is, whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, even LinkedIn. We are all the same. CLUBSHEIS on all of the platforms. So all you need to do is just take that picture and just share it, or whatever you feel really resonates with you, then definitely share that. So just a quick one, just to make sure everybody's here. If you have mute, if you can't hear me, people who can't hear me, don't know how they'll see it, I will type it in the chat section if there's any issues, so that you guys will be able to unmute and be able to hear me. So let's just see, everybody's here. I'm gonna quickly just wave, cool. Everybody's here, everybody can see me, everybody can hear me. I'm seeing waves, yes. I'm seeing so many happy faces and friendly faces. Cool, I don't want to be here talking to angry people. I can't see your faces during the presentation, so I just need to make sure that we are happiness, that the lockdown isn't making you go nuts. I've got, my little girl just woke up literally at 2. She was like, masterclass starts, cue the fireworks. She started crying. So that was what happened with me for like 2 seconds when I disappeared. All right, cool. So let's get into the meat and bones. I'm super, super excited about this. I think you can tell. I'm an excited person right now. Okay, so we are here for the first session, which is all about knowing your value. Your value is that indestructible thing, that thing that people will want to pay for, will want to drive for kilometers to come and have a piece of. People who will be willing to fly across countries to come and see, feel, touch, or experience your value. That is what we're going to be chatting about today. Now, you guys already have a copy of the first module workbook. It may seem like a very simple and easy to follow workbook, but there's a lot of weight riding on that workbook. And I'll tell you why and how that workbook works and how you can use it to your advantage. So first things first, the starting from scratch free live masterclass series is for aspiring entrepreneurs and influencers to help you develop a clear mission and vision of what you want to achieve. So this is Vision Week. Vision Week is in 3 parts. So today, tomorrow, and Thursday. The first is about finding direction, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Finding your zone of genius. Now, there's a special way that we find this, because this is the thing that's going to help you find the value and the success that you need to build, that will transcend across different circumstances, situations, and even centuries of time if you know how to make it work for you. Then the second, which we are going to be chatting about tomorrow, is finding space. So uncovering your unique opportunity for success. A lot of people think it is about finding the gap, and it actually isn't about finding the gap. It's actually about finding the fire where it is hot, finding the iron where it is hot, so that you can hit it right there. So that is the secrets that we're going to be uncovering tomorrow, where we're going to be chatting about how do you find the hot zones? How do you get into a market that's already hot, so that from the first day that you enter into it, there's already activity. Then the third is finding your diamond. And this is where we're putting the 2 lessons from this week together, so you can understand value and lasting success. Now that you found your value, now that you found an opportunity for success, how do you make sure that you can continue to have that success irrespective of whatever era that you are in? So if you still need the workbook, we will resend it to you via email, so don't worry about that one. Then next week, we're going to have Mission Week, right? So the mission is all about what are you going to do to actually now use that value and create the success that you want for yourself. The first thing we're going to look at is knowing your people. Who are the people who are going to lead you to your success? What audience do you need to build, or who do you need to work with to build that success? Then number 2 is your vehicle. What are you going to sell? if you are an entrepreneur or an influencer, there's always something that you are selling. So what is the thing that you are going to sell? Then we're going to end it off with going for your success. How are you going to sell? How are you going to move forward? How are you going to make this work for you? Okay, so getting into the meat for this week, you already have the Starting from Scratch Part 1 workbook, which is called Finding Direction. This is what we're going to be going through today, so you understand why it is important and what you need to hear and what you need to hear from today and achieve at the end of today. So in this workbook, it's very easy to follow. It's got lines for you to also just to fill in if you need to fill it in. You can print it and work through it, or you can make it an editable PDF and you can start filling it in on your computer or your tablet. So in every session, you'll receive a workbook to help you realize the key points that you need to start building your success. And with every live masterclass, each one will be live and a special time for us to connect, share, and discover. So this is the part where we chat with each other. There is a chat section. So if you need anything, then definitely just pop it in there so that we can chat about it. Then moving on to today, which is this week is all about vision, right? Vision is something that we hear about all the time. People who are successful and people who talk about, listen, this is how you build your success. You need a vision for the future. And then you just close your eyes, look into the distance, and you're just like, I'm picturing a house, a car. I'm picturing flying all over the world when the coronavirus is gone. All of those things. That's what you think about when you think about vision, right? You're thinking to yourself, okay, this is what I want for my life moving forward. This is what I want for my life when things start working out for me. But you need to have a clear vision of that. But vision isn't only about what's happening in the future. It is also about what you have at your disposal right now. What is it that you have and how can you use it? Okay, guys, we have a little glitch. Okay, it's gone. What do you have at your disposal right now? What can you use to start building the success that you want for yourself? Vision is not only about seeing the future, it is also about seeing where you are right now, what you have at your disposal right now, what you can use to build that success that you want. That is what vision is all about. All right, guys, it seems as though Zoom is giving a bit of a glitch when it comes to the shared screen. So I'm just going to get rid of this. Okay, there it is. It's all gone. Hopefully that goes away. Doesn't happen again. Cool. So 1 million is my number that is in my vision, right? Personally, as CLUBSHEIS, I would love to change the lives of 1 million women around the world. Now, do you know how many zeros are in the word 1 million? Like, I mean, that's a lot. That's a huge number. We're not playing around when we say 1 million. But that is the vision that we have for ourselves. We want to impact 1 million people around the world, helping 1 million women to find their dream and to build it, to take control of their income and their lives, and to earn income and live their lives on their own terms. That is what we want to do with CLUBSHEIS. Now, this dream took over 10 years for me to build. I was working across different fields, from digital media to radio, drive time radio, to a bit of television production. I've done a whole lot of things that needed to build up to this one moment. But as soon as I had that vision for what it is that I wanted to achieve, then all of a sudden things started to fall into place. CLUBSHEIS is now in its almost 3rd year now, and we are growing by leaps and bounds. And the vision that I have for CLUBSHEIS is to have a conference, right? A conference with over 2,000 women there, an amazing arena where we take it over for the weekend. But the ultimate dream is to fly over 100 women to an island destination. Mauritius, just saying, just putting it out to the universe, God's hearing me. To fly 100 women to Mauritius to have a weekend where when they leave, everything that they need to build that dream for themselves is there, and they can just press play and start living out that success, start having that traction with their brands and start having customers with their businesses. Now that is the vision that I have, right? The vision continues to say that I want to travel the world to see the women that we are speaking to through CLUBSHEIS. We have women in Russia, we have women in the UK, we have women all over Africa as well. And I want to go and see those women and have those workshops in those countries as well. One thing that is quite in demand with CLUBSHEIS is the workshops that we have, because they are just so impactful and so powerful. So people want more of those in Cape Town and Durban, but there's also demand in Lesotho and in Botswana and all of these other countries around the world. And that is the dream, right? That is what we want to start doing with CLUBSHEIS. But it takes time to even have that vision. You can't hit a target that you can't see. It's even worse if you can't even describe the target. Then you're just shooting in the dark. Now, this vision was something that I had since I was a young girl. This is someone I'd like to introduce you to. Her name is Dompi. Dompi was a girl with huge cheeks that her dad was just like, your cheeks are so big, it looks like you swallowed dumplings. So he decided to call her Dompi. And she had one dream and one dream alone when she was younger. And that was to have a business that would allow her to have the freedom of time to work from anywhere, but also the freedom of money so that she doesn't have to worry about money, right? Growing up, I've had my fair share of money struggles, both from my family and as an individual when I became an adult as well. So those struggles are things that I don't want to see for myself or to see for my daughter. So that is a dream that has been the same since I was a 7-year-old little girl. So as soon as I could start working, as soon as I could start living my own life, when I was in matric, I entered Miss SA18 and I won. And my world got opened up to a whole lot of things, flying up and down the country, meeting different people. I got introduced to a whole new world that I knew nothing about. Having grown up in Rustenburg at that time, I didn't know the things that I was exposed to after winning that title. And after I did, I started to work for brands that I could only see on TV, and being in touch with people and having a bodyguard and flying and being in presidential suites. All of those things are things that we dream of. And those things started happening. And that's when my world was open to the world of communication and media. So I started working for a company in freelancing in 2009. And ever since then, I've been working with some of the country's biggest brands. And I was loving my job, right? As soon as I was, I think 23 or 24, I got my amazing, beautiful 2-bedroom apartment with my wooden floor and my dining table. You know, things were going right. I had my drop top car. Unfortunately, once I started to achieve the things that I thought I was supposed to achieve, the things that I was told that this is what success looks like. It looks like this apartment, it looks like that car. It looks like you being in corporate. It looks like all of those things. Unfortunately, I became extremely depressed. And this depression was something that I had to deal with my family. It's something that made me extremely unhappy. And it took me a very long time to deal with it. It took half a year to deal with this bout of depression. And from there, I then had to find out, what is it that I was made for? I know the vision that God had for me was for me to find success and to help other people achieve that success as well. But this is not what it looked like. The job that I was in, that was not what it looked like. It looked like something else. Yes, there was the drop top. Yes, there was the apartment. Yes, I was the girl in Joburg. And yes, I was working with the big brands and flying across the country, but that wasn't it. There was something wrong with this picture and it had to be fixed. So I did what every other girl does. I cut my hair and I quit my job. You know, when a woman's about to change her life, she cuts her hair. Gone is all the hair. And I started my business. And I quit my job in December and I started my business in January, which is the worst time to quit your job is in December because you don't get your bonus. So I didn't get my bonus or my 13th check. And I started my job in my business in January of 2015. And ever since then, I've been trying to build this, the success for myself and this brand for myself. But still, it took close to 5 years to actually really understand what that vision was. So 2 years of working hard, I went really, really broke, made some very bad financial decisions, and it just wasn't going right. But something changed in the 3rd year. And what happened next was what I've been searching for the entire time. I started focusing on myself. I started building my brand. And when I started to build my personal brand, my business started to grow as well. I was doing amazing things I was doing amazing things for my clients, but I wasn't doing amazing things for my personal brand. And when I started to work on my personal brand, that's when my business started to do well. It started to do so well that more than one or two people wanted to work with me. The crowds just kept on growing bigger and bigger. And because of this, I started getting featured on places that I never thought I'd be featured before. And that awareness of my brand and my business continued to grow. And that is what brought about CLUBSHEIS. I started to build my personal brand as an influencer, and I've worked with the country's biggest brands and continue to do so till today. And I've also been able to build CLUBSHEIS. Before, I used to work on a one-on-one basis with people, and I could take a maximum of about 5 clients a month. But with CLUBSHEIS, I am able to impact over 100 people in 1 hour. And that is what CLUBSHEIS has allowed me to do. So that dream of impacting 1 million women, because the vision of what I wanted to do, and because I knew the steps that kept on unfolding, it became the route for me to build the dream, to continue to achieve what God had put in my heart, but at the same time, be able to see the vision that He had given me come to life. And that is what I want for you. I want you to be able to have a clear vision of what it is that you want and a clear mission of how it is that you're going to get there so that you can start to live the success that you want for yourself. So here's a number on the screen. So just quickly, 36.54 million. What number do you think this depicts? It's a population, right, in South Africa, but this specific population does something unique. Can you guess what it is? Is this the population of females? Is it the population of students? Any lucky guesses? What is this? 36 million people. What are they doing? Can you guess? Is it students? Is it women? Is it entrepreneurs? What is it? Unemployed? Nope, not unemployed. It's a good stat. It's a positive one. Women? No, it's not women. Female entrepreneurs? I wish there were that many female entrepreneurs. People using the internet. Exactly. So Ntolo got it right. This is the population of South Africans who actually have access to the internet. And many people who start businesses today want to access people on the internet, right? Why? Because it is freely accessible to anybody who has access to Wi-Fi or internet connection. So if you are able to connect to the internet from whatever Wi-Fi source or data source that you have, you can get access to 36 million people. And for many people, they're just like, if I can have access to those people, I would make a success of myself as a personal brand, as an influencer, or I would make a success of myself as a business, right? The internet is one of the easiest ways for you to find customers. And when you think that there are 36 million people who currently have access to that, why wouldn't you want to play on the internet to find your success? So even though there's so many people on the internet, it makes you a bit scared, because if there are so many people on the internet and you want to become an influencer, or you want to become an entrepreneur and put your business online, how are you going to make yourself stand out? What are you going to do to stand out? With 36 million South Africans online, how are you as an individual going to make yourself stand out enough for you to build the success that you want for yourself? But not only just that, how will you last? There are more than 3 million people gaining access to the internet every year in South Africa. So that number just keeps on growing. So what are you going to do to last? What are you going to do to stand out? What is a thing that you can have, the tool, the asset that you can have in your hands, that you know that if I have this thing, not only will I stand out, but I am going to last the test of time. You don't want your success to be a flash in the pan. You want to continue succeeding for years to come. So the thing that you need for you to not only stand out is value, because it will also help you to have a business or a brand that will last for decades. Now, value is described as the regard that something is held to deserve, importance, wealth, or usefulness of something, right? So something that people see that, okay, this thing is worthy of being important, it has worth to me, it is useful to me. Now, people are willing to give time and energy and money to something that they find valuable. And that's what you want. You want to be able to have something that you can say, this thing is valuable to me. I want it. So if this thing is valuable to other people, they are willing to pay for it. They are willing to spend their time on it. They are willing to give their energy to this thing. So what is it for you? That piece of value is a thing that's going to ensure that you continue to have success. So just a quick apology. I think there's a glitch within Zoom when there's a lot of people. It does have these squiggles that randomly show up on the page. So we will sort that out with our provider as soon as we can. So what you need is value. And once you know what your value is, if your vision is clear enough to say that, listen, this is the thing that I want to achieve, this is the value that I have, you are then able to have a clear vision of what you can do with that value in order to achieve your vision. Remember, vision is not just about what you can see in your future. It is also about clarity about what you have today. So what do you have at your disposal? What value do you have to give? And how are you going to use that value to build the success that you want to build for yourself in the future? So now we are going to talk about the baker, right? The baker is my little friend. This little baker is a little friend that I have who, it's a true story, somebody I actually know, who has built a business for herself. And let's not beat around the bush. Let's not beat around the bush, right? We know what's currently happening right now. They know that, we all know that the coronavirus is happening. There's a lockdown in many countries around the world. It's not just this country. Around the world, a lot of people have had to stop their businesses because of the coronavirus, right? So what are people going to do about that? It has thrown a spanner in the works for a lot of people. So I want to give you a few examples of people who know their value and how they are able to transcend that value across many periods of time. So here's my friend, the baker. She has a baking business. She likes people to come to her business, buy cakes, and that's how she makes her living, right? So she makes her living by baking cakes, number one, baking cakes and confectionaries, and then she delivers them to people and she continues to sell them at her store. Now, because of the lockdown, right, she's unable to do this. She is unable to bake, number one. Number two, she's unable to make deliveries and customers can't come to her anymore. So what is she going to do? So Miss Baker knows that her value is in delicious cakes, right? But once this lockdown came around, she realized that, you know what? I can bake delicious cakes. That is the value that I bring to the table. That is why I started this business. But how do I transcend beyond this period of time? Do I just close shop and not do anything? No, that is not what she's going to do. She got down to the bottom of her true value. She makes delicious cakes. She's a baker. She bakes delicious cakes. That's her value, right? No, her true value is delicious cakes. And she's able to give people delicious cakes in different ways. Baking is not the only way that she can get delicious cakes to people. So what did she do? She went and she decided that, okay, before the lockdown started, when the announcement was made, she decided to put together a package of ready mixes for people to be able to bake delicious cakes from home. And that is how she was able to make money right before the lockdown, right? People won't be able to come to her shop anymore, but they can buy ready mixes and go do it at home. Another way that she's doing it now that the lockdown is in effect is that she is selling and showing people how to make delicious recipes for their cakes. So people can't come to her and buy her baked cakes, but she can help other people bake cakes for themselves. And another thing that she could do is that she's also offering live baking lessons. So the same way that we have the session, she's then able to have live baking sessions with people on the other end. So if people are able to say, okay, cool, I can't buy a cake, I don't know how to bake, I can attend this baking lesson. So she can have a course that she will provide to people to show them how to bake cakes and to teach them how to bake. What does it mean to bake? What are the necessities that I need to have? What does the process do? How do I use my flour? How do I roll out things? How do I make sure my cake doesn't flop? All of those important things that people want to know so they learn how to bake cakes. Because she was able to get down to a true value, she was then able to shape it and position it differently so that she's then able to continue to be in business even throughout different circumstances. Now, times are always changing. You need to move with the times. And when you understand your true value, you are then able to transcend. You are then able to form or to present your value in different ways, irrespective of how the times change. So in finding your value, in going through this workbook and finding your value, it is important for you to get down to the bottom of what is it? What is my true value? What is the thing that I can use, irrespective of what's going on in the world, that will make sure that I am able to continue to make a profit or to be in business, irrespective of what's happening in the world. Now, who knows Leonardo da Vinci? I just want to know, do you guys know who Leonardo da Vinci is and what he's done? Just to make sure, I just want to know who's in the group, who's here, if we're all on the same page. What do you guys know about Leonardo da Vinci? In the chat, what do you guys know? Just a quick one. What are the first things that you think of when you hear Leonardo da Vinci? He's an actor. He's not an actor. He's an artist. He is an artist. He does art. He's an artist. Yes. He's a talented painter. Getting more specific, yes, he is. He is a painter, an artist. Yes. He's an inventor. He is. So Leonardo da Vinci is a Renaissance man. I think it was Italian Renaissance. I'm not really sure. I'll make sure. But he was alive quite a long time ago. And he's known for the Mona Lisa. Right? Very, very popular piece of art that is in, I'm going to get it right, in the Louvre, I think. Where is it? In Paris. It's somewhere in Paris, right? So he painted this, which is an absolutely famous piece of art. You know this piece of art, right? So people who don't know who Leonardo da Vinci is, do you guys actually know this piece of art? The Mona Lisa. Yes, the main Mona Lisa painting. Yes. So we're all on the same page. We know this guy. We know how old this thing is. It's quite old, right? He is also the same artist behind The Last Supper, which is a very popular painting of Jesus's Last Supper. Very timely as well because of the time of the year that it is. So he's also the same artist that was behind the Last Supper. But Leonardo da Vinci was not always able to make popular art. He was alive during a time when there was war. He needed to start working during a time when the world was at war. And ain't nobody wants a painting during a time of war, right? How artists used to make money back in those days is that they used to get requests from people to come and paint them, a portrait of them or their family, right? So he couldn't do that at the time because people were too worried about dying that they didn't want somebody to come and paint a sculpture or to make a painting of them. And also he didn't have the name to even be able to be called up for that type of work. So he had to find other ways of making money using his value. He knew that his value was him as an artist, his eye for art, right? So how was he going to continue to make a success for himself during a time of war when absolutely no one wanted a painting? Nobody was concerned about getting art made during a time of war. Now I can tell you now that Mr. Leonardo da Vinci knew what his true value was, and he was then able to use that to create success for himself. Did you know that Mr. Leonardo da Vinci used to work for a duke, right, called Lodovico Sforza of Milan for 16 years, completing some of his most memorable work, including The Last Supper. And the reason why he was able to do this is that during the times of war, he used his value to appeal to someone in times of war. So the Duke Lodovico Sforza was more involved with war, and he wanted somebody to help him to create things that would help him win the war. He wanted two things. He was mostly concerned about winning the war or being part of the war or being prepared for the war. And the second thing he was concerned about is looking good, right? He wanted to have grandiose structures and beautiful things for him to be able to show off with. So not only did he want to be in the war and win the war, but he also wanted to show off because he was a show off. So how does Leonardo da Vinci mix up with this Duke, Lodovico Sforza? What he did is that he sent him an application and a cover letter to say to the Duke, this is the words from the cover letter, that, listen, Duke, I can do amazing things for you and help you to win this war. These are the services that I have for you. So here's an example of one of them. I have plans for very light, strong, and easy portable bridges, with which to pursue and on some occasions flee the enemy and others, and indestructible way, either by fire or by battle, easy and convenient to lift and place in position, also means of burning and destroying those of the enemy. Number 2, I know how, in the course of a siege of a tyrant, to remove water from moats, and how to make an infinite number of bridges, mantles, and scaling ladders, and other instruments necessary to such an enterprise. He continues to go on and on and on, right? About things that he could build for the Duke. He continues to say in point 10, in time of peace, I believe I can give as complete satisfaction as any other in the field of architecture and the construction of both public and private buildings, and in conducting water from one place to another. Also, I can execute sculpture in marble, bronze, and clay. Likewise, in painting, I can do anything possible as well as other, whatsoever he may be. Moreover, work could be undertaken on bronze horse, which will be in the immortal gallery and eternal honor of the auspicious memory of his lordship, your father, and the illustrations of House of Sforza. Now, what this shows is that Leonardo da Vinci knew his value was in his eye for art and structure. That is the same eye that created the Mona Lisa as well as the Last Supper. But he used that same skill that he had and translated it to someone who needed him during times of war. And that is the same thing that you're supposed to do during times like these. When you find value, when you find your true value, you are able to present it during good times and in ways that makes you happy, like in baking cake or painting the Mona Lisa. But when the times go bad, when the world changes, when Facebook is no longer a thing, or when Instagram is no longer popular, or when the internet dies for a whole year, you are then able to take that same value and translate it so that it works for the times that you are in. So it's not just about knowing what you like. It's not just about knowing what you love, what you're good at. It's about knowing what your true value is, so that when times are different, as the world continues to change, 10 years from today, things won't be the same. 20 years from today, things won't be the same. But you are able to take that same value and translate it into a product, a service, or a piece of entertainment that people will still be willing to pay for. People will still find value in that thing. People are still willing to give time, energy, and money for that same thing that you have discovered, that piece of value that you have. So you need to understand your true value. So getting down to the bottom of what is it that I bring to the table? What is at the core of the thing that I bring to the table? Leonardo da Vinci was not a painter. He was an artist. He had an eye for art and structure. And he was then able to use that to paint the Mona Lisa, to create the Last Supper, but to also build bridges and to also build architectural structures and sculptures for a duke who was worried about war. The baker that we spoke about, she knows that her value is not in baking, but it is in the recipes of delicious cakes, is in the art of making cake. So she is then able to continue to work, even though she can't bake a cake, she can help others bake cakes, and people can see value in that and pay for that as well. And that's what I want for you. Once you discover your true value, it doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter what is currently happening in the world. You are then able to present it so that you can continue to profit, to continue to live your dream, and to continue to build success for yourself, irrespective of what is happening. So is everyone on the same page with me? Does everybody understand why true value is important and why it is important for us to dig down to the bottom of it so that we can truly understand what we need to do and how we are then able to transcend and continue to make success for ourselves, irrespective of the era that we are living in. Ria's with me. Who else is with me at the moment? I see Sam. I see, okay, lots of names. Okay, we are all Yolanda, Ayanda, Ntolo, Nono, Zintle, Tabiso, Zagani, Tamara. Perfect. All right, cool. So let's get into the things that we need to discover, that you will discover through this workbook. The first thing that you need to discover through this workbook, the first part is finding direction is all about finding your value, right? So finding your value is a meeting point between four things. It is what you know, what you love, and what you've done, right? So a lot of people will start a business just purely based on what they love and have zero experience and know very little about their thing. All they know is that I love this thing, so I'm going for it. That makes success harder. It's not impossible to get your success, but it does become significantly harder. If you want to truly find your value that transcends no matter what time it is, you need to find what you know, what you love, and what you've done, and they need to intersect at a point where people are willing to pay you for that thing. So what you love is really your interests. What are the things that you are interested in? What you know is your expertise. So my expertise, for example, in communication and finance, right? Having a finance degree and having postgraduate degrees in communication, as well as 10 years experience in communication, those are my expertise, right? Then there is what you've done, what your experience is. I may not have studied hair, but I do know how to take care of natural hair. I may not have studied beauty, but I do know how to create looks and how to deal with the face. How do you take care of your skin as well? So that is experience, the things that you've done in your past. Then the fourth thing, you need what you love, what you've done, and what you know to intersect at a point where people are willing to pay you to do that thing. And that is where the opportunity lies, right? Now, when we find the opportunity, we need to make sure that not only do we know where the opportunity lies, but you want to actually find a place where people are already spending money. So you want to get into a market where there's a flow of money, right? So you don't want to just do things for charity. You want to be able to sustain your life in whatever you're doing. So we want to find the intersection of what you love, what you've done, and what you know to intersect at a place where you can get paid for it. So in this first workbook, we're going to look at those three things: what you love, what you know, and what you've done. And in the next session, we're going to look at opportunity. How do you then find a place where you can bring those things together and get paid for it? So let's start with your passion and your interests and the things that you love, right? The reason why you need to look at your passion, your interests, and the things you love is that when you build your success, not every day will be interesting. Not every day will be fun. Not every day will be nice, right? There's some tasks that are genuinely boring. But once you have done those tasks, those things will get you closer to success. And that is what you want for yourself. You want to work with something that will keep you interested. Something that if somebody told you that you need to go do your research in this thing, you won't drag your feet because you love the topic. You're interested in the topic. You find it fascinating. When you learn new things about this topic, it lights your fire. And those are the things that you need to look at. Now, the first thing that you need to do when you approach this workbook is that you don't want to go in with your blinders on. And this is something that people do all the time. You tell yourself that, you know what? I like beauty. So I'm going to answer all my questions in relation to beauty. I don't care what you say. I'm going to answer all my questions so that it leads me back to beauty. And that's not the point. You need to list everything you're interested in and everything you're good at, even if it's not linked to beauty. The reason why is that it can actually allude you to something that you've never thought of before. It can actually show you an opportunity, a gap that you haven't seen before, but you won't see it if you do not answer your questions honestly and fully. So just because you want to go into one market doesn't mean that you have to exclude all the other things that you're interested in or all the other knowledge that you have. Your opportunity will lie in a place where there's an interesting intersection of things that you're interested in, the things that you love, and the things that you know. So when you're answering the questions in the workbook, be honest, and answer them fully. If there's not enough space in the workbook, take out another page. If you have to write 100 things that you're interested in, write them all, because you want to dig deep. The deeper you dig, the better your value will be. So don't cheat yourself by doing a short answer or being short in what you're doing. This is not the time for you to cheat yourself. This is not the time for you to lie to yourself either. This is the time for you to find a value that's going to build success for you this year, next year, 10 years, and 20 years to come. So don't cheat this process. When the first question that you'll be asked is, what are you interested in? What lights your fire? What do you love? Write all of those things down. So even if you want to get into the world of engineering, if you love baking, write it down. They aren't intersected in any way, but you should write down all your interests and your passions so that in the next step, you can find your opportunity. So the next part after that, the next question that you will see in the workbook is the question on what you know. So what is your expertise? What are the things that you know about, right? If you were to go to a job interview, what are the things that you're going to say you actually know about, right? So for example, I'll make an example with myself. Like I said, I work in the field of communication, but I have a degree in finance, right? So that is part of my expertise. Those are things that I know. I know about finance. I know about taxes. I know about personal taxes, business taxes, debt estate. I know about company papers. I know about company accounting, and I know about how the indexes work and economics and all of those things have absolutely nothing to do with my communication at the moment, but they're part of my expertise. So I'll write that down, that I have knowledge in the field of insurance, I have knowledge in the field of investments, I have knowledge in the field of accounting. Those are the things that I have knowledge about. I also have knowledge in the field of communication, not just any communication, digital communication, influencer management, online business, all of those things. So e-commerce, how they work, those are my expertise. Those are the things that I know about, right? Those are the things that I can write short books about. I can teach other people about those things. Those are part of the things that I could apply for a job for. Write all of those things down. Like I said, even if they're not completely connected to the thing you want to go into, be honest with every question that you go into. From there, the last part of this is, what have you done? What is your experience, right? So we've spoken about the things that I love and I'm interested in. We've spoken about the things that I know about, right? You're going to do the same thing. So what do you have experience in? Experience and expertise are two different things, right? So in my experience, I've done radio, I've done award-winning YouTube shows, I've done, what else? I've done hair. What are the other things that I've done, right? So what experiences do you have? The key here is finding experiences that link back to the things that you know and you're interested in. Sometimes in life, we go through certain experiences that help us that push us in a specific direction. You could find that the person who's a baker, the reason why she's a baker is that as a young girl, she grew up in a house where there was always baking, where maybe she grew up with an aunt or an uncle who was a chef. Those experiences are part of your story, and that story becomes part of the thing that helps you towards your success. So think deeply about experiences that bring you closer to your success, that are part of your success. So what experiences do you have that are part of, that can build part of your success? So did you study abroad? Did you maybe win a few competitions in something? Have you met specific people? Have you had the opportunity to be in a room with certain types of people? Have you gone through any unique experiences that will help you to see your vision and the value that you bring to the table? There are unique experiences in this world that other people haven't had. And because you have that experience, it is part of your success story. For example, my experience of having won Miss SA18 in 2008. That is part of my experience that very few people have had, but it's part of the thing that builds to my success because it opened the door for radio and TV and communication, right? So what experiences have you had? They may be big, they may be small. Another experience I can give you an example of. I'm giving you examples so that you can also think of the experiences that you may have had that have actually helped to build you into the person that you are today. So another experience is that I grew up in a house with entrepreneurs. Both my mother and my father are entrepreneurs. They worked in corporate. My dad worked in mining. My mom worked in agriculture. And then they both quit their jobs and started their own things, right? And became entrepreneurs. So because I grew up in an entrepreneurial home, I was always surrounded by entrepreneurial talk. So as much as I was a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old, all day, every day at home, all we spoke about was business. And that is where I started to learn about business. So that's part of my experience in life. So what is your experience in life? What experiences add up to where you are today and part of the things that will build to your success? Because when you start to look at those things and you bring those things together, that is what leads you to the value that you have, that unique value that you have. No two people have the exact same experiences. So you need to look at the experiences that you have that are unique to you and the ones that you know you can use to build your success. So the last thing that we're going to be doing, the next thing that we're going to be doing is opportunity, getting paid, right? So today in the workbook that you have, you are going to be going through what you've done, what you know, and the things that you love or you're interested in. Once you have those three things, in tomorrow's session, we're going to be looking at how can those three things combine for you to get paid. How can you find your opportunity? Now, it might not be as obvious as what you may think it is, because what we'll do tomorrow is that I will show you circumstances and situations where people were able to build success that is maybe not as usual or may not be known to many people, right? These examples of people who have built multi-million-dollar businesses of small things, things that they have loved, known, and experienced. They came together for these opportunities. And this could open your eyes to an opportunity that has been staring you in the face, the opportunity that you needed to start building your success. You don't have to do you don't have to do life the same way everybody else does. And that's why you need to be exposed to as many opportunities as possible for you to start building your success. Opportunity is not about finding the gap where no one is. Opportunity is about finding the gap where people are already there and you can already start to build your success. All right. So in normal times, we know that Leonardo would have been a painter, and he was during normal times, that the baker would sell cakes. But disaster and strange times happen all the time. We have had social media platforms that have come and gone. The internet could crash. Google could go south. Apple could die. Things are always changing. You may not be able to afford the internet the same way you are, or your business partner might either leave you or unfortunately die. Things happen all the time. Disaster happens big or small. You don't have to wait for a world disaster like the one that's happening now, but small disasters happen in our lives all the time. And when you are able to find your value, you are able to always find your success irrespective of what times you are going through. And this is the importance of why you need to find your value in the way that we're looking for it today. In times of disaster and strange times, Leonardo worked for a duke, creating sculptures and bridges and things for war, only to lead him to one of his most famous paintings and his most famous pieces of art, which is the Last Supper. The baker may not be able to sell cakes right now, but she is able to continue to make a living and to build a list of customers by continuing to sell recipes and host cooking classes online. So when you find your value, I'm telling you that the value that you find when you do a good job of answering those questions fully, wholly, and honestly, then you are able to continue making a success for yourself irrespective of the times that you are in. I can give you an example of a client that I had, and she went through a personal disaster, right? She's an industrialist, as we would say, in one of the oldest types of businesses in the world. And she went through a personal disaster. And because of that, she decided to close her business. But because she knew that her value was not in doing the work, but in knowing about the work, she was able to build a whole new career for herself as a speaker, as a writer, and as a consultant in the same field. So what do you know that could help you do the same thing? So that no matter what stage of life you are in, you are always able to continue to make a living. This client of mine continued to make a living, not after shutting down her business, she was still able to make a living because she knew what her true value was. If today your employer said you can't work anymore, if your business can never be opened again, if the shutdown lasts for another 3 months, what can you do? What value that can you have that you can offer that will continue to help you earn an income and build a success for yourself moving forward? Vision is not just about what is happening in the future. We've said this over and over again. It's not just about the dream. Vision is about having clarity about where you are right now. If you are able to pick up the pieces of the things that make you valuable, then it becomes easier to build that dream. And no matter what spanner lands in the works, no matter what twists and turns the world takes, you will be able to continue building that success for yourself because you know your vision. So next, in tomorrow's live masterclass series, which is now, this was exciting, but tomorrow it only gets better. We're unearthing opportunity. I'm going to tell you about opportunities and businesses and examples of people who have built businesses that continue to make them a success today and will continue to make them a success tomorrow. And these are opportunities that you could have for yourself. So make sure that you go through your workbook and find that value. And be here for tomorrow because I will show you the type of opportunities that you can look out for. But not only that, I'll show you the formula for you to find your unique opportunity. All right. I am excited. I hope that you guys actually enjoyed this because this was, I know it was a lot-ish, but at the same time, I was interested and I loved it. So I want to hear from you guys. How was it? Are we on the same page? And what are your thoughts? If you have any questions, send them through me. This is the time to send the questions. I just want to see your faces. Hello. I look like I've got antennas. Okay, cool. And if I see an interesting question, then we'll have like a live chat. I see thank yous. Thank you. You'll be here again tomorrow. Good. I saw somebody send a very interesting value, unique experiences and storytelling. Love. Yes, you have unique experiences that you have had and that you can use to build your success, right? So I'm going to extend by like 5 to 10 minutes so that we can just get through all the questions. So let's see. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys actually enjoyed this. Can't wait to start. And I saw some of the things that you guys actually want to do. I saw somebody say they want to become a presenter. I saw that they aspiring entrepreneurs. Everybody has different dreams and different things that they want to achieve. And there's so many ways. There's, you know, when they say there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, I never say it because nobody wants to skin a cat. But if you did have to skin a cat, there's, 1,000 ways to skin a cat. And there's 1,000 ways for you to achieve the success that you want for yourself. And that's what we're going to chat about tomorrow. So if there's any specific questions about what we spoke about today in terms of finding your value, then just send those through. A friend would like to join tomorrow. Yes, your friend can join. They can just sign up. So even if somebody has missed today's one, they can sign up for tomorrow. So you don't have to worry about that. If somebody still wants to join, they can then join a little later. So about the recordings. So this is being recorded, but it is being recorded for premium members. So this is free for everybody who tunes in live. So if your friends want to join, as long as they tune in live, they can always get access to the session. Then in CLUBSHEIS is a platform for women. I know there's a few guys that have spotted you. I'm not kicking you out. You can stay. It's okay. We won't, and there's a lot of females here. And that's how it's supposed to be. So if there's any guys, it's okay. It's that we target females. I like working with women. And that's the thing about building the dream that you want for yourself. I personally have had terrible experiences working with men. And that's why I built CLUBSHEIS, because I love women. And I think that women can literally take the world forward. There's amazing things that the world has not seen yet because women are on the rise. We're taking up space. And the more space women take up, the greener the planet becomes, it just becomes a better place because women are in charge. So the more women take over, the more that can actually happen. And that's what I want to do. And I know that with women, we get so scared. We have to first deal with fears. We first have to deal with self-doubt and the imposter syndrome and all of those things. And I can relate to those things because I've gone through them myself. And I've either gone through them with my clients or with the family businesses that we've been in, or whatever it is, we've been through those things and we can relate to each other, right? So CLUBSHEIS is a network for women. And one of my favorite things about CLUBSHEIS, which is one of the smallest things about CLUBSHEIS, but I love it, is the support that we have, the groups that we have, that you can come to a space where there are other women who understand you, who are there to support you, who are there to help you go forward. And that's what CLUBSHEIS is about. We give women all the tools and the resources that they need to build the businesses and the brands that they want to build for themselves, to build their future. It's all about taking control of your life, control of your income, and making money in your own way, taking things in your own terms. And that's what CLUBSHEIS is all about. So if you want to become a member of CLUBSHEIS and get access to this recording as well as other things, CLUBSHEIS is a very practical thing, very practical. I'm the person who says, register for the account like this, then you press on this to add the picture. That's how practical step-by-step CLUBSHEIS is. So if you want to join, it is a monthly subscription. So to trial the CLUBSHEIS membership is 37 Rand, which is the cup of coffee. Same price as a cup of coffee if you're a coffee buyer. And then thereafter, it's 250 a month. So you can sign up, trial it for 1 month, cancel at any time. You can email me and say, listen, Kopan, I love it. I've been here for a month, but my journey has come to an end. Email me and then we cancel the subscription. So if you want to join CLUBSHEIS, join the groups where we chat. I know I chat to the women one-on-one on WhatsApp, and I know people's personal stories about their businesses and what they're currently doing. So if that's you and you want to join CLUBSHEIS, then in the email, I'll definitely send you the link of that. You can rewatch this. There's also going to be a voice recording, so an audio file, and the presentation will be on the club site. I see some familiar faces, which is quite good. I can see 1 or 2 of the members are in here. So I'm super, super excited about that. Is there anybody who has any questions about today's session or even about the next session? Just want to make sure if there's anybody who has any questions. Just go to the chat. Where's my chat? Cool, so let's see. Is there another method of payment? Person's name is Sugar. Just send me an email and we'll have a chat about it, or I'll send you guys the WhatsApp number so we can chat. Differentiate yourself from a space with high saturated. That's the trick. So tomorrow we're actually going to speak about highly saturated spaces, right? And that there's a secret, there's a trick to it. A highly saturated space is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. If a space is highly saturated, it lets you know that, guy, we can actually make cash here. There's people who are spending, there's interest here and all of those things. So there's that question about being highly saturated. What advice, what is a process for you to be sure and confident about what you have to offer? And what advice would you give to someone who's in that process? The best advice that I can give to you right now is, firstly, yes, you can. I think the one thing that women do all the time is that we believe we can't. Firstly, you can. If God has given you that idea, it means that you actually can do it. That's why he's given you that idea. So first things first, believe that. Then secondly, your research. So the last page of the workbook is going to ask you to try and find out as much information as you can about a field. That's what's actually going to make you more confident in something. Finding out what happens in the field and who is in the field, how are they making their success, will just show you that at the bottom of every business, Alexander Forbes is somebody's name. Alan Gray is a human. There's people behind big businesses. We look at these huge things and we think to ourselves, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Condé Nast, the person who's behind Vogue and this whole entire publishing empire, is one human being. L'Oreal is an old lady. So all of these big businesses that we see, when you research them, you get to find out that there was this one person who had a dream and went after it. When you study success, it helps you realize that these are ordinary people like you and me, but they've just done something right. So the best way for you to grow your confidence is to find out as much as you possibly can about your field. It will help you actually realize that ordinary people started the success, and so can I. Also finding out, getting down to the bottom of what makes you valuable, just helps you realize that, you know what, I've actually got the credentials to do this. I can do it just as much as somebody else can. There's one thing I took from this is that you are specific and intentional. Thank you. Yes, we also need to be intentional about ourselves, and going through this workbook will help you be very, very intentional about what you're going to be doing. So I'm really, really happy and excited that you guys enjoyed this. Tomorrow is going to be very interesting. And the reason why is people need to understand opportunity in a different way. Things such as a saturated market. Yes, a market can have a lot of people, but the only reason why it has a lot of people is that there's interest, there's demand and supply freely flowing. So there's a lot of money in that market. That just means that there's also space for you too. When people say have a piece of the pie, there's some pies that are 10 billion rand worth of a pie, and nobody can eat 10 billion rand worth of pie by themselves. And that's where you can also come in and have your own slice of the pie. And I'm going to show you guys how we can actually do that tomorrow. So just a quick one. I love to do this in sessions before we leave. If you want to duck, I know people duck when I do this. They're like, get out of the screen when I do this. I just quickly just want to take a video of people waving just to say hi. For everybody who's not here to say, you missed out. So say hi, everybody. So our session today, which was a great number, we'll have to increase it for tomorrow because I know there's some people who actually couldn't get in. Hey guys, we're still waving. I know that there's some people who actually couldn't get in because we reached maximum capacity. So we're going to have to increase capacity for tomorrow. We had maximum of 100 people actually came through. So we're actually going to increase. So lang cost that chalete, but it's fine. It's free, but I'm paying for it. Just so you guys know. So have an amazing, amazing day. I will email you guys. I will include today's workbook and tomorrow's workbook as well. Tomorrow is going to be exciting and mind-blowing. So bring your cranberry juices. I would say bring wine, but I don't want you to lose focus. So come through tomorrow, have your pen, have your paper, go through the workbook, and I'm excited. Opportunity. We're making things happen. By the end of this series, I want to see people saying, hey, I made this much. So thank you guys for coming and enjoy your day.